What's going on, Rippa fans and Rippa fam? Andy Andrew here. We are back with another awesome art-filled, articulation-filled, and knowledge-packed episode of Control-Z, our artist podcast here at the Rippaverse. And I am joined by the very illustrious artists that we have on staff here at the Reverse, including our own concept artist, Marcos Rios, Igor Tessiera, our lead illustrator, and Mr. Kanan White, our art director here. And we're gonna have a good time. It is a time of thanks. It is a time of giving. And yeah, because it's Thanksgiving this week. So I don't know where I was going with that, but that's what we're doing. So here's what I'm thankful for: all of you that are in the chat, that hang out with us, that support us here at the Reverse. I'm thankful for all these fine gentlemen here who are so incredibly talented, and I have the privilege and honor and blessing of being able to work with them every single day and pick their brains. I'm thankful for the fact that we're all able to work in comic books to support ourselves here because of the support that you guys give us. So thank you so much for all of that. But we had a fun prompt this month. There was a little less wiggle room given for it than we traditionally do. So we're aiming for something a little more structured, I think. And we decided to go with any member of Alpha Core. So you had 3 options versus the monster Squadron. So the guys have some fantastic pieces. We've got a great piece from one of our fans as well, who continually submits to us month after month and has been honing their skills for several months running now. And it's really cool to see. In fact, I'll also show off another piece that they contributed to, though they didn't draw, before we kick out of here. So I'm excited about that because that's been a lot of fun. But without further ado, I think we'll get right into it. We don't want to waste any more of your precious time. I stole that line from Chuck Dixon. I just want to put that out there because he says that like right at the start of his Ask Chuck Dixon podcast that he does. So it's ingrained in my brain now. So like I have to try and force myself to not like do his intro because no, that's Chuck's intro. That's not your intro. But it's just always in my head because I watch every single episode that he puts out because that man is packed with interesting knowledge about the comic book industry. So if you're not watching that already, I encourage you to fix that. Make a good decision with your life. Watch Ask Chuck.
After you watch this, go watch it.
Yeah, go. If you haven't watched any episodes of Ask Chuck Dixon yet, after you watch this, go watch all of them.
Yes.
Playing with you on your phone. If you're cooking dinner, whatever, in the shower, it's fine.
Playing the playground.
Yeah, exactly. Throw it on the TV. You know, it's family movie night. Put that on. You know, get your family some knowledge.
That's crazy.
It's a lot better than a lot of other stuff that's on TV. That's for sure.
That's a
This show is not
Imagine
sponsored
that.
by Chuck Dixon.
Guys, sit down. We're gonna have a class.
Right. That's awesome.
For today's episode.
Right.
Right? I swear the show is not sponsored by Chuck Dixon.
It's just like scroll across Chuck Dixon.
Yeah.
Watch Jordan put something funny across the screen with that.
Andrew,
It's just
the-
this
we
picture.
probably asked for
This
it.
is like
Andrew's,
subliminally flashing this picture like
Right?
like Fight Club, right?
right.
Like a watermark, yeah.
I love it.
Shoot.
I love it. That's fun. All right, let me pull up our first piece. And this piece is done. I think this is Marcos's. I don't remember who picked who. So we're about to find out because I don't pay attention to things like that.
I would say it's mine just based on the gray, but I don't know.
Oh, you started
It
with the
could-
background.
Maybe. I don't even know what I'm talking about. It's fine. I just pretend. All right, this is
Yeah,
Marcos.
it's mine.
Is it?
it's
No,
mine.
it's yours?
That's
Okay,
Igor. Yeah.
go ahead.
Igor's,
All right.
Igor's.
Take us through, Igor. Y'all look
Yeah,
alike.
so-
You're all in South America.
Oh,
Not
come
by the
on.
hair.
You all speak Spanish. Okay, so please go back a little bit because the first
Yeah,
part
yeah.
is the most interesting one for me. So I
He got
was
crushed.
Let
my
me go
really
way back.
yeah
right.
my first idea was like I want Brian to get punched. That was it. Like I wanted to.
What do you
Like,
got
no.
against Glory, man?
So I was having so much fun drawing him like in different poses, getting punched all the time, like feet up in the
Crazy.
air, like just trying. And then I drew one where he was punching in Cheddar, and I was like, no, this is not it.
Mm.
And then I started to. This is the most fleshed out version, but it's gonna change a lot still.
Okay.
So I was trying to get him to be in the foreground, and then Chadron to be in
Mm.
the background. More in the middle ground actually, because the background is
Okay.
gonna be the train yard. But the right away, the most unfortunate part of this piece is gonna be that I didn't use the environment as much as I should. So the background is kind of like just plain background. I didn't do a lot of with it, where you could have a lot of fun. Like the guys had a lot of fun with their pieces, but I should have had more than just like basic punch. But my brain was like, for a second, I even forgot that it was supposed to be a train yard, and then I had to like, oh yeah, this was part of the
Hmm.
plan. So
It's 'cause he did it
yeah.
this morning. No.
No, I didn't. I actually didn't, because you can see like I'm sketching the trains there. But yeah, this was like kind of I was trying a different brush, and Andrew is gonna appreciate this, even though it doesn't show a lot. But I was looking at a lot of Brett Booth art for
I can
this,
tell.
so I was like, yeah, I want to try to get the hatches and everything that he does. So for
Nice.
this piece, I tried not to use a lot of blacks because he doesn't
Mm.
do that. Like he mostly works with like texture
Lightweights. Yeah.
and hatches and kind of line weight. So I was trying to get that feeling for it. I obviously overdid on those, but it's part of like studying other artists. You have to keep trying until you kind of
Yeah.
get like a feeling for it, because those nuances is what makes like an artist's personality show up. Where
Yep.
like I can see a piece from Marcos or from Kanan or other artists and immediately know like this is a piece by them, just on like basic stuff like the way they did draw muscles and everything. Like we become familiarized with that type of stuff. So I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to get like the sense of where where is it that he puts like his hatches and everything. And I was trying, like you can see, like I overdid it, and I'm gonna erase some of it. But I was really like, this is a great opportunity. These pieces are great opportunities to study something different, try
Yep.
different brushes, like different techniques, because doesn't mean that I'm gonna copy that artist all the time, but maybe there is something that I can assimilate into my work or something
Yep.
that I find cool.
Yep.
That yeah. So I'm drawing a ton of different faces for him, adjusting a lot. I didn't plan for this as much as I should, I think, because it wasn't. The first sketches had more of that feeling that I wanted, where like there is this punch that's really like breaking everything around him. And for
Yeah.
this one, it's kind of like lost that weight. But I was too far into it, and I had like I said, I didn't plan a lot, so I kind of went with it. I was worried about other things, like the line weight and trying to focus on different things. But it is really important for any artist out there that when you're drawing, you're just not drawing. You're like conscious of what you want to practice and you want to try. Because my focus for this was basically line work.
Okay.
So the other stuff kind of like came and went, and I didn't really focus on it all that much. So you lose focus of the prompt or other things.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But it was mainly about that, like just how do I want to ink this without using a lot of blacks and a lot of mass. Uh, had some fun with the hands. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that people should pay attention to. I feel like
I was noticing that with
had,
the further hand, just the
yeah,
neatness of it. Yeah, it's really good.
thanks. Yeah, I was trying to like you get some motion. You get a lot of motion out of just like bending a
Mm-hmm.
wrist or something like that. It don't
Yep.
need a lot to convey that like a character is having like it's flying or something like that. If you
Mm-hmm.
bend the wrist in a certain angle, sometimes you just get that movement without having to work a lot.
It's good.
Um, yeah. So it was a bit more cartoony than I usually work, but I'm trying to find my middle ground. I'm always trying to find that middle ground where
Yeah.
like it's not extremely realistic because that's not really my vibe, but it's not like completely overly cartoony either. And I feel like
Right.
I need to study more artists like Brad Booth because he kind of nails that look like
Mhm.
that inspired me to become an artist.
He kind of
It's
has those
awesome.
like exaggerated expressions that are
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
not the realism, but he keeps like a lot of his anatomy within that realism.
Yep.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
that's I think where he finds his middle ground.
yeah. But that's what's fun about comics. Like you get a ton of different artists, and you can be influenced by all of them. Like people you wouldn't even think that some people are influenced by it, and they certainly are. Like you ask some artists what their favorite artists are, and you get like some wild answers where
Mm-hmm.
you don't see it in their work, but they see something that they took that was valuable.
It's usually
I
like
added,
a collective of multiples.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what style is in the end, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
your reference and the stuff that you like. So I'm trying to find like new references that might bring me to a new level or make me
You ever
do
look?
something interesting.
You ever look at I think his name is Clay Henry. He's a artist. It's
Oh
very
yeah, so good.
very smooth line, very
Yeah.
little shadowing, mostly
Mhm.
line weights, and very very good with expression. Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
almost like he thinks like an animator, and
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
all his images just seem to move in their like basic. It's almost they're not simple, but yet they are. You know, they're very like you said, the line weight kind of um carries the piece, and he's definitely a good artist to look at as well.
Yeah.
But this is
I love
really
the
good, dude.
impact
Yes,
that that's happening
yes,
there on Brian.
yes,
Like
Yeah, you can feel it.
I'm thinking, my man Brian, what the hell did he do to you, man?
yeah. That's really
Yeah,
good.
but I really wanted like to sell more of like the punch if the first sketches did that better because I made them interact with the environment. Like I said,
Mm,
these like the background is just the background. Like there is no
Mm.
interaction between the environment and them per se. But the first ones I had more of like an idea. But I was thinking I wanted something more dynamic. And
yeah.
I ended
Mhm.
up like ditching that idea where I wanted like foreground, middle ground, background. But yeah,
You
it's
still
I
kind of
like
did that though.
yeah, but it's not like the punch that I wanted. I wanted like Brian to really like take a punch.
It's just
I
like
don't know, man. I feel
it's
like I feel like if I'm Brian in this piece, I think I took a punch.
like, dude, he like almost he all but caved his face in, dude. Like that's like Invincible getting hit by a freaking was a conquest.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah. I
Omni
should have
Man or
looked at that.
whatever.
Yeah, I should have looked
Yeah,
at that fight more
I
because
was
that's
thinking.
kind of the impact that I was going for.
Yeah, I was saying that's what I think you would cheat. Like if you were gonna like, I guess really like sell the punch, you could add some of the. I always say not action lines, but like anime. You know how they do the hatching to show the
Yeah,
fist coming at a
yeah, yeah,
velocity, and even
Mhm.
Maybe a chalkwave,
yeah, that's what I was
yeah,
thinking, Marcos.
yeah,
Almost like
a blast.
if you ever seen like
yeah.
the Justice League Unlimited when Superman fought Doomsday and they hit each
Mhm,
other and like that
mhm.
shockwave impact, man. Like you saw like the vibration of the like, and also
Yeah.
gives the kind of gives the illusion of it moving in slow mo, like
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
kind of thing. So
maybe more like saliva
yep,
drips
yep,
Yeah, yeah. More
there.
particles in general, like yeah,
Hmm.
that's good.
flying
I mean, it's still
around.
good though, man. Like you,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
It's
you sold the punch.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a great
Correct.
piece.
Man.
I wanna see somebody color this piece is what I wanna see.
Oh man, dude. I know, and like give it like the lighting almost like it's lit like kind of like 4 o'clock in the evening. So it's like the sun is kind of and you
Yeah.
get the shadow and the ambient light and stuff. That would be crazy.
you
Do it,
know,
Igor. Do it,
you know
Igor.
what
Do
you
it,
could have
Igor.
done. You know what you could have done to make it more involved with the background, as you said. It looks like the train's already being pulled. Maybe you could add like some
Oh
sort of
yeah.
wires or some like he's
Oh
pulling it
yeah.
in after the
Oh yeah,
punch.
Yeah.
Maybe like
Yeah.
maybe
color that.
Like
that back arm
Yep.
like
yeah.
Yeah, like
maybe
he's
it's holding
pulling it.
on to either the
It's wrapped.
cables
Yeah.
or even the tracks, and that's
Yeah.
what's pulled up and
You got
lifted
to
up
hit him.
the
Yeah,
car
that's a
That's
there.
good
crazy.
idea. That's actually what
Put,
would like tie everything together.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see
yeah.
that. That's
So
a
that
good idea,
sucks.
Mark.
Like you getting
I
cracked
can
and
see
about to get hit
Igor
with the
now
train.
going back. I can see Igor going back now, like after we
Yeah,
record,
right.
and being like,
Tweaking.
"I'm actually quickly." He adds that.
If
Dude.
I had time, I would actually do that, and then
I
call
know
it good. Like,
you're
yeah,
drawing 24/7. It's a miracle you're able to get these done. I think
but
this is
yeah,
fantastic.
It is.
but
It
I
is.
can't get over the idea like that Marcus
Yeah.
gave, like just
Yeah,
smash it over with the thing.
very
Yeah.
But
dramatic.
it's cool, man. Like, this was the first time where I didn't like suffer too much to draw some of the poses that I think
Mm,
in the past I would have suffered
Mm.
more.
yeah.
So like there is something about being free to experiment different things where I feel like the first sketches that we make
Yeah.
are actually where we learn the most.
Yeah.
Where like that first like the 10 seconds of our videos is where like most of the thinking is being done,
Yeah,
where like you're trying different, yeah,
Yep.
but that's where you're actually getting your juices flowing and trying different things, and
That's
like
when
the
that's
poses
when
are
you're
getting,
composing, right?
Yeah.
yeah, where the poses are getting easier and easier, like the anatomy is getting ingrained in our minds. I feel like this is great practice for this. This is episode 14 already, so it's
Yeah.
unbelievable
Yeah.
that we've done like 14 pieces for
We were
this
doing this for
each.
just
I,
over a year now.
I think,
Yeah,
man, composition is not spoken about enough in regards to comic art because
hmm
um, your composition, man, is everything. You can render the most amazing characters in the setting and the background look amazing, but if nothing congeals, if nothing gels together, man, like a solid composition, man, like it matters. And like you say, even though you didn't necessarily focus on the background, I almost don't think you needed to. Like it was enough to sell what was going on, Igor, with what's happening in the foreground. Like it, yeah, I mean, it was enough because I think if you did more, it would have took away from Brian and Chadron fighting. So and you can still feel the movement. Like you said, it may not have been the impact you wanted, but still
Mhm.
you can tell like it feels like you're watching a still image, from a
Yeah.
a film of some sort. So, but yeah,
yeah,
and you feel
it's
the
fun.
angst of him getting
Yeah.
punched.
I'm feeling it over here. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
it's my
he's like,
boy.
"Ah!"
Poor
It's
Brian
really
can't
nice.
get no
Like,
respect.
yeah, but that's the curse of powerful characters, right? Like
Yeah,
we want to watch them get a beating before they rise up to the
Right?
occasion.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Everybody likes seeing Goku get the crap kicked out of him
yeah,
of
before he
course.
discovers a new form. Right?
Super Saiyan
yeah.
level 958.
Right. Exactly.
Oh
Super Saiyan
my
4 is the best one still, but that's neither here nor there. Uh,
Oh, Ultra Instinct was kind of dope.
it's cool conceptually. I just design wise, I like Super Saiyan 4 is the most unique for me. That's why I like about
Yeah,
it
I
so
can see
much.
it. I'm just I find myself anti GT, but
Fair
you know,
enough.
yeah, story
Fair
wise,
enough.
but yeah,
That's
the
fair.
the
Yeah.
the, the berserker mode of 4 was definitely dope.
Yeah.
More or
That's pretty-
Ozaro effect. So yeah,
Yep. Exactly. Any final thoughts on this piece? I'll say something that I think the fans will notice a through line for between all three of y'all's pieces is that you all took a real angled approach at your
yeah,
layout, and I like that because it adds a lot more dynamicism to the piece,
I didn't
more
think
so
about
than there
that.
already would
Yeah,
be, right? It's not just a flat
yeah,
surface that we're dealing with here. It's at a great angle, so
Yeah,
I like
that's
that.
actually part of the feedback and some of the compliments that I have to the piece, to the fan piece, and then we can talk about that when we get there. But yeah,
yeah,
it's all about composition in the end, man.
yep.
Yeah,
So that's basically what it is
absolutely.
about.
Good job,
Yep,
Igor.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent work, man. Excellent work. I dig it.
nice.
I really dig it. All right.
Nothing wrong with a little bit of angle.
Right,
Yeah.
just a little bit of tilt.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Next is gonna be Marcos. Share screen here. Bop. Bop. Here we go. All right, amigo. Walk us through.
Mine would have been actually kind of ideal as the last one because I ended up adding the entire alpha core. That wasn't my intention, but as you also see, I didn't really do much sketching. Like I only went through one. I had like him forcefully shoving Brian into the ground, but then I decided
Anti
to make it.
Bryans.
Yeah, I decided to
All the
make it more
Brian
focused on him.
disrespect. What is with this?
Also,
Is
I
this just to
didn't
keep him
realize.
humble because he's the star of like 2 books that are active right now? Is that what that is?
Maybe I didn't realize that I was supposed to, I guess, focus on Braxwell, so I ended up doing Brian instead, the one
Mm.
being, beaten by Shad. But I added all three, so in the end, it's fine. You know, Brian is the only one that could
Overachiever.
probably take. But yeah, I focus on making it a very perspective heavy
Mm.
piece with Chadron like lifting a train and stomping on holding Brian down. He's about to like try and do a finisher move. But let's
That's
be honest,
crazy.
that's not really gonna do much to
He's got that
Brian.
steel chair right there, but it's a little bit bigger than a normal steel chair.
Definitely.
I mean, Brian's been he's been through some stuff, so I think he'll be fine. It's just a
Oh,
little
you
train,
with the train is kind of.
Yeah,
About to get his
it's a train.
caboose kicked is what it is.
He survived all that heat from Billy Bob in Alpha Core
That's
1,
true.
so
That's true. It's true.
I'm not gonna yeah. So yeah, it was just basically it. Chadred showcasing the muscular, he's like very monstrous, like big guy.
Mm-hmm.
Although
Mm-hmm.
guy is probably like a understatement. It's more like a monster, but yeah. I wanted to try drawing more muscular men because usually I'm the one drawing the females in the team. These guys didn't really
I
want
hadn't
me to
noticed
draw
that.
Ingrid for this.
Mm-hmm.
They really
Yeah,
wanted me to
we
draw like
immediately
everybody
like when
else.
we had the discussion of like what this prompt piece was going to be. The immediate rule was Marcos doesn't get to focus on Ingrid,
I mean,
but he managed
it's
to
my
fit her
He's
in
in
favorite.
there
there.
anyway.
Yeah, he didn't follow the rules.
I mean, hey, the role wasn't that she wasn't going to
The
be the
focus.
focus. So,
It's fair.
to be
It's fair.
fair, I didn't actually initially think of adding either of the Brax or Ingrid into the piece. It's just when I was doing this sketch, by the end of it, I was like, you know what? It makes sense
Yeah.
to have it be like this team moment because Brian's pinned down and then Braxwell's like flying in from the side.
Yeah.
And then Ingrid's trying to like entangle his arms to stop him from, smacking down on Brian.
Right.
Because even though he would take it, it'd still be painful, Like
Yes.
so it's
Very much.
understandable that he would need
I
a
would
little bit of
imagine.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's only a train car.
it's only a
It's
wagon.
only one train car, okay, Brian. Put on your big boy pants.
Yeah, don't
Right.
be a drama queen. Come on.
Right. It's only your
That's the-
your sternum's only crust. It's
Yeah.
Yeah. What I like is that
that's the
you
way
added a lot of detail to the muscles here, more so
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
you usually
Yeah.
do.
Oh yeah,
Like
Yeah.
even just your initial sketch, it's already rendered more than I'm used to seeing out of you.
Mhm.
Yeah. I agree.
thanks. Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult for me because of the angle, especially that shoulder, this whole like area
Yeah.
Yeah.
while he has the
Yeah,
arms
that's
lifted.
gnarly, man. I can't imagine drawing that.
Yeah.
I contacted Kane because I was like, man, can you like see if you can spot anything? Because I feel like I'm doing something wrong or something.
How the hell
But I
do
ended
I
up
do this?
it's hard to reference that because I mean I'm very skinny and I'm not gonna be taking the
Yeah, I
reference
feel
to
that,
myself,
man.
but
Yeah,
That's fair. Yeah, no,
Igor,
I get it.
yeah, I get it.
because the more muscle, obviously, when you're doing an angled perspectives,
Yeah.
the more curvatures. So it was a little bit rough for me to get that right with the shoulder, but specifically the arm that's closest to us, that shoulder, the connection with the chest, and then the back muscle here. I forget what it's called.
Oh, your
It was
lats.
all a little bit more. Yeah, it was a little bit more difficult to like figure out the position. And then the chest, the way that it incurves itself when
Mhm.
you lift your arms,
Mhm.
that was a little bit tricky too. But yeah, in the end, managed to make it work. And then
What I like
they
too
they're
that you
at
did, Marcos, was you not only is he holding the train, but you can actually feel that he's actually bringing it down,
gripping.
Yeah.
like he's
Mhm.
actually like about to, which
Yeah,
is
that's
really
true.
good.
Uh, I wasn't gonna give it those lines of the crease, like
Mm,
the metal crackling under his fingers at first, because it was gonna be more like he's holding it. But then I was like, you know what, it makes sense that he's actually holding it tight to be
Yeah.
able to force it down.
Right, because you'd be able to actually get some force behind it, some
Yeah.
momentum by having a grip on it.
On top of having Ingrid pulling back his arm, so he would need to
mhm.
hold it in
Mhm.
place. He's smiling, so he's not really struggling,
And he
to be
doesn't give
fair.
it.
So
Right.
He doesn't give a
Exactly.
damn, man.
I even gave the lassos or the green
Mm,
Ingrid's lassos, I guess, the whips,
yeah,
a different color outline just to make it more
it was a good touch.
Yeah, I
differentiated
like
Yeah,
that
it was,
choice.
from the.
yeah.
I was gonna do the same for like Chadron's red little like markings on his arms,
Mm,
Mm.
but I said I just left that out because it would have mixed in a little bit with the green. I felt like leaving it like that, and then I added a little bit of undertone there to his skin because his
yeah.
skin is way darker than anybody else's, just
Mhm.
to make a little bit more contrast.
Uh,
Because I felt like I didn't really have a lot of contrast going into this piece. And yeah, looking back into it now, I would have definitely added more shadow, like shading behind Ingrid, a little bit more contrast. Because if you
Okay.
look at Ingrid, it's kind of combining a bit with the train in the background.
yeah, I can see that.
Although I'll say, man,
But
like actually not having a lot of the rendering and the detail in the background really, really made Brian and Chadron stand out even more.
Well,
Like
yeah.
focus, yeah.
yeah, like it was almost like if there was debris or dust or something that was in the background, kind of separating the foreground and the background. Like it kind of feels like that. Like there's, just dust and debris. You know what I mean? So it
Mhm.
would,
Yeah.
when like anything, when that is present, things lose focus. They're not as detailed.
Like blurred.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
almost like a blur effect. And I also love how Braxwell, you can see he's trying to get over there desperately, man. Dude,
Well,
like,
I just noticed this while I was looking at it on my other monitor over here, my larger monitor. I just noticed that his visor's cracked.
Yeah.
oh, is it?
The visor's
Yeah,
cracked.
Yeah.
it's hard to tell here, but yeah, his
Oh
visor's
yeah,
cracked.
to the left.
The
Yeah.
little, the
Of
chip
his,
out of it, the crack out of it. Yeah.
He's pissed.
That's
He's
a nice
pissed.
touch. That's a nice touch. I
He's
like
Yeah.
that.
pissed.
'Cause
The
that
fight
tells me
has been
like he
going
already got
on.
the crap kicked out of him a
Yeah,
bit.
Yeah.
yeah.
They've been fighting him for a long time. And like, it seems
Yeah.
like,
That's cool. I
Yeah,
hadn't
he's
noticed
coming
that
in.
before.
Yeah, he's Superman flying into it, like charging.
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that pose. Like that
Mhm.
really like sells the velocity
The
at which he's
intensity.
Mhm.
coming. Yeah. He's coming at speed like a bullet or something.
It really does.
That's
Yeah,
how he
I
is
think
actually
guys.
too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like the flyer, right? Like that's the best flyer out of them, probably. I
It's
like the poses, all the poses actually.
yep.
Ingrid's like you can
Thanks.
feel the tension. Like Andrew mentioned, the muscles and
Yeah, you can
like
see
the
the
force
tension in
that
the arms.
that Chadron's applying to the wagon. Like everything works really well. Kind
Wow.
of broken, like there are
Uh-huh.
pieces like dangling out of it. It's really good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
that's
would have. I just noticed that Brian kind of looks bald, so I forgot to add a little bit more shade to the hair, the color.
To the top of the hair.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, he coulda
yeah.
darkened up the top of his hair because it
The
keeps
top,
it almost
yeah.
military buzz on the
Mhm.
back and
Mhm.
right.
sides,
Kind of
right?
like an
It just kinda
undercut
keeps it on
kind of thing.
top.
Yeah.
Because I guess if we didn't, he'd literally just be Kingdom Come Superman at that point.
Mhm.
If we did. Kingdom Come
Everybody.
Superman wearing green. But so he's got the buzz cut, with the exception of the hair on the top, so he
Yeah.
keeps that high and tight.
Mhm.
So yeah, that probably is one of the few things that I would have tweaked there. Not that I could draw it better, that's for sure. But
Oh, is that the case? Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I couldn't
Mhm.
draw this.
Right.
This right here, hell no. This is crazy.
Hey,
So
if
he says.
you don't try it.
Yeah, I think we
Look,
have to call.
I ordered a drawing pad. Okay,
Yes,
a
you did.
digital drawing
Yeah, you
pad.
see?
the X Pen, what was it, X Pen something Gen 2, which
It's a
should be
good one,
arriving
too.
sometime this week in the mail. So
Yeah.
I'll have
We're
to
about to see a
learn how
bunch
to
of
use
Andrew
that
sketches.
and learn Procreate or whatever.
Yeah, man.
I've got an Andrew sketch right here. Got a few things. What's that?
Look at that.
Live, I
Look
see.
at that, everyone.
The NDAs.
All
The
right.
NDAs.
All right.
Yes, it.
Any final thoughts on Marcos's piece here?
I love it, man. You know,
Me
you
too.
get better and better every piece,
Thanks.
man. Like it's
Yeah.
you can see the growth from piece to piece. So that's huge. You should be proud of that, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Little
killing it.
highlights, like
Yeah,
the little highlights,
Yep.
and like the bounce light and
Yep.
Oh
like the
yeah.
Fresnel effect around like some of the muscles. Like those are really good.
Yep.
Like gives so much volume with so like just a few brush strokes, and you
Mhm.
get like a whole lot other dimension to the muscles and the drawing and volume of the characters.
Mhm.
The line works really good as well. Like
Yep.
the contour line being like thicker than the inner line. That's something that's hard to master, even though it
Yeah,
sounds simple.
I used a different brush, which was the basic I think Gen marker or something like that.
J
The
pen,
G brush.
yeah,
Pen.
the J pen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I usually use a different one that's more grainy. I forgot what it's called.
Okay.
But lately I've been using that one, the G one, just because it looks more it's more straight. It's
Polished.
less,
Kind
less,
of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
little
makes
bit more
like
polished.
illustrations look better. Yeah.
Really good. Good job.
I think on top of the fact that my boy Brian here is already getting disrespected by getting stepped on. He's about to have card from a train dropped on his noggin. Like, you got Shadran's big stinky toe here right in his face.
Right in his face.
like he could just not win right now. It's just a lose scenarios.
Tough day,
Great
Brian.
work,
Poor Brian,
amigo.
man.
Good job.
Great
man.
work.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of your most dynamic pieces yet. I
I
think by
agree.
far.
Thanks.
That piece is crazy. All right.
Thanks.
Let us switch to Mr. White with yet another super dynamic layout. So I'm pretty happy with all three of these pieces. I think the fans are going to have a much harder time deciding this month than they have in recent months. You guys always bring it, but like this time, like everybody was like, "Nah, I'm
Dynamicism.
bringing it." Right? Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
this is going to be like a movie. All right. All right, Kanan,
So-
walk us through it.
Just basically showing the impact, man, and I wanted to do Ingrid because I don't draw her enough. And so I was kind of the one. That's why I was really jockeying to do Ingrid. But
You took it from me,
You've
yeah.
also
Yeah.
you've done Brian a zillion times.
yeah, I always draw. I mean, Brian is basically our Superman, so like I always automatically gravitate toward him. But yeah, the pose was just trying to make it dynamic, trying to make it impactful. You know, as you'll see, usually my sketches don't show a lot of kind of what I'm already conceptualizing in my head. It's just kind of like to get the rough out, kind of the composition more than anything, and then from there, you know, I just kind of add all the like details and all those different things. And so sometimes a lot of the decisions I'm making are kind of on the fly, which is why I will render something fully, and I think I've done it here. When you see this piece, I'll render it fully and like start all over. It's like
I've
nope,
seen you do that a number of times.
That's not what I want. Or if I'm like really determined to get the pose right, it's like no, like I wanted to, because a lot of times when you're sketching, your sketch has all that energy. You know, Igor, you mentioned that it has the energy and you know the movement on. Sometimes when you start rendering, and particularly with my style, you have to be careful because it can start to look static and just like statues, you know, rather than actually moving parts. And so learning how to draw gesturally and then still carrying on that same movement to that render style is something that, you know, comes as you grow and, you know, as an artist, to not lose that. You don't get it all the time. You don't get it right all the time, man. But, you know, it's always the aim to keep things moving, keep things active, and not static. So I said, just I really wanted to show, Ingrid, for one, holding on to Chadron. You'll see, as I render, you'll start to see, where I add the whips, and around his neck and around his arm, just trying to show the tension of him being held. And then, for me, I always with Chadron, I always trying to. I don't show with him. It's almost like he's almost like a doomsday to me, where he doesn't really show emotion. Like he's just kind of like destroy, and I just do what I do. It's almost like how they used to treat the Hulk, where the Hulk would get into fights by happenstance. Like he wasn't trying to find fights to get into, although Chadron is a little different. Like he's trying to destroy things. So that's why I say he's more like a doomsday. I don't know if you guys ever saw the original Superman versus Doomsday story arc, but like when Doomsday first showed up, he was just in that green suit. He didn't say anything. He didn't even roar. He just beat people to death. Yeah. He's just like, crush the bird in his hand, and then beat so many people. I remember how he beat up the guy Gardner. Threw him into one wall, and then next wall, and then threw him into the ground and stomped his face. I was like, jeez.
Well, he's almost like the Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers in that respect, example. Where like he's just a
force
monster,
of nature, right?
But there's no emotion. He makes no noise, type of a thing for the most part, or like a Doomsday, right?
Yeah, everybody's like, what drives, Doomsday? And same thing with what drives Chadron. Why is he? Why was he after Isom? Why has he just got this vendetta against certain people? And with this, as you can see, I wanted to show him hitting the track and actually showing the train, the track's actually breaking from the ground, and also kind of like the Dragon Ball Z shockwave, what I'm saying? Yeah. I love how anime will do movement rather than actually doing the classic action lines like Jack Kirby. They do that kind of like just sketchy kind of like effect. I don't know if you guys seen a lot of manga, that to me is like ingenious how they did, they kind of invented that process. So taking that process, I mean, doing it that way, I think adds more of a realism to it rather than simply doing the action lines, which sometimes can take you out of the the reality that you're trying to convey. My style is more like I said, more realistic. So having a big swoosh thing just kind of makes it too cartoony. So I try to keep everybody's minds and stuff focused on what's being seen rather than being distracted by any extra lines and swooshes and stuff like that. But same thing with her whips. I really wanted to make sure not only was she grabbing the cinder block, but it actually looks like the whips are being wrapped around, so there's tension. If you see how it's wrapped around the different angles of the block, and like showing how she's really trying her hardest to subdue as well as take down Chadron.
What I love here is especially you have some curvature. I'm pointing to my monitor, like people can actually see what I'm pointing to. But hold on, actually I can do this.
Oh, you have an arrow.
So so you got some curvature to her whip here on that back arm, and the way that you have that and the angle of the cinder block, you can tell there's some centrifugal force being utilized.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
You can see the movement, like you can describe the entire movement just with that, like you know where it's gonna land. Like
like that was that in conjunction with even her facial expression. Like if I don't know if you can zoom in, you probably can't, but she's
not on. Actually,
not in here, I'm sure. But like her, just like an intensity in her face, like it's almost like in those like superhero fights where it's like the wrong hero for the wrong job. It's like Flash, for example, Flash taking on Doomsday. It's noble. He'll try. He's done his best, but just don't get smacked, because like if you get hit, it's over, kind of thing.
Or Spidey versus Thanos, or
Spidey
like
versus Thanos, or
he's gonna do his best.
Exactly. Or I was thinking of you mentioned Spider-Man, Andrew. Tobey Maguire's version where he's trying to stop the train.
Yeah.
He's not Superman. Of course, Superman was just like Doom. You know, Spider was like, like he had to use physics and tension and science, to try not, first of all, not die, and then two, to protect the people. So Ingrid is not necessarily the one you would think to fight Chadrin, because
Yeah.
she's not. It's not a power game, and so as um when you're outpowered, you have to adjust. So I'm not going to beat you with strength, because I'm not going to beat you. You're physically stronger than me, so I have to use what I have. And so whether it be a brick, the ground, metal beam, like whatever it takes to put this dude down, I do my best, and it's just don't get punched. Just
I see her.
keep moving.
I see her in this piece, and I'm like, I keep thinking she's just in danger. If it's
Yeah,
Chadron
She
grabs,
is.
if he just
yeah.
grabs the whips, he could just, you know.
Well, if you
Yeah,
if you
that's
look at if you look at it, like even the one that's wrapped around his body isn't really
Mhm.
doing anything. It's kind of like dragging her along,
Yeah.
and she's like,
Yeah,
"Ugh,"
exactly.
kind of thing. So
He could just
yeah.
move like this, just beat her.
yeah, yeah,
I but I love that type of fighting because it shows more like you brought up like Spider-Man during the train scene where
yeah,
there's like a character using their powers in a smart way. It's not just a
yeah,
punch,
Yeah.
it's not just like
Mhm.
an attack with a whip.
yeah,
Like she's using it like in a smart way, in a different way.
yep.
Where like I feel like Japanese do that like
They do.
really well in their mangas. Where like even a manga like Berserk is not like only about the sword swings. Like there
Yeah,
is some strategy to it. They are trying to use the character's ability in a different way. So every
mhm,
fight is a new one. It's not about like a fist match and we're
yeah.
gonna punch each other until like it's over. Like there is some thought behind the characters using their powers. Where
It's
I
good.
feel like you nailed this here.
Thanks,
Whereas
man.
like
Mhm.
really
You
like it
were
shows the
thinking,
movement and everything.
yeah. Like you mentioned, like just using their powers differently. Like if for somebody to the match somebody who's just pure power. Well, what am I trying to say? If I have, for example, whips, I'll use inertia or strength
Hmm.
and tension. Like, I can't beat you, but I can try to wrap.
Some force multiplier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll wrap my whips around something that's deeply rooted into the ground, and so it'll
Hmm.
give me the same tension as if Brian was in front of her, in front
Mhm.
of Tadger and trying to hold him back. At least
Hmm.
Mhm.
to give me some type of advantage. So, yeah, like you're right, man. Like, it is always cool to experiment with characters that are sort of kind of out of their element.
Yeah.
Like Brian fighting in the water. Like it'll be interesting him fighting underwater, but it's one of those things that be just kind of a cool thing to see. So, but yeah, this was fun, man.
This
I
looks like it was a
really,
fun piece to draw. Like,
Yeah.
I just
Mhm.
love
I
how dynamic it is, and I see Ingrid there, and it like makes me think a little bit like a Julia Carpenter or
mm,
a Jessica, right? With just how dynamic her pose is there.
mhm.
I love it.
thank
Yeah,
you.
the negative space is insane in this, man. The control
Yeah.
that you had of like most of it is just like the sky, and then you
Yeah,
have
Mhm.
like the characters posing in the perfect way. Like the composition in this is insane. It's
it's
really
funny. I
good.
was
That's a
gonna put
wallpaper.
thank
Yeah.
you. I was gonna put a skyscraper back there, but I was like, man, I don't feel like drawing the
No.
buildings.
Yeah.
I love
No.
that the
No. It's
reasoning was
perfect.
like, "Ah, I don't really feel like drawing
And
that.
sometimes that's the best choice, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I need to get to something else. Like that's done.
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not like he already has 1,000 details, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, at that
I
point, how
mean,
detailed do you want the piece to be? You want
exactly.
you wanna you wanna
yes.
have the main, protagonist here, Ingrid, get lost in the detail
Yep.
of the background?
Yeah.
And two, like most train yards, man, are pretty vast. They're pretty wide open.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So it's mostly, they said the trains for these, maybe the conducting station or whatever that thing is called that,
Mhm.
people wait for the train. But other than that, man, like it's pretty open and pretty empty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So,
The sky.
yep.
But even with that, like this is another point that I wanted to bring up. Like you can see the language that he used to design like the tower and everything around
Mm,
him. Like
Mhm.
the obviously there is like his style to it, but people don't think enough of like, how am I going to draw this in a comic book way, where it's not only accurate but it makes sense to the drawing that I'm making. Because sometimes you see, like, we've all seen one or two anime where like the background doesn't make any sense to the characters, like some cartoony stuff and then some hyper realistic
You're right.
3D
Mhm.
background or something like that.
Yeah.
So everything has to have the same language behind it,
good.
and like you can see it in Kana's drawing, like where the tower, like just the shadow. I was thinking about like details, like the shadow that you put in the stairs where the ladder is going up.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, just this
Oh,
fading.
that's the
Like
matter.
he probably didn't think about that because it's ingrained in his style, but there's something like, yeah, like the steps are all black, and then
Yeah.
like you get the light from that, like the light is hitting from a certain angle because of that. Like this is all too smart. Like there's too much going on, and it's really good.
Thank you, man. Thank
Very
you.
good job, man.
Beautiful work. Absolutely beautiful work. As always. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be putting up a poll in the chat. You'll be able to vote for your favorite piece. And in fact, why don't I just I'll bring it up twice in the on the screen here. But this will be these are your options right now. These are your contenders. So
I always like to
Igor,
see all of our
Marcos,
stuff together. Looks
it's
really
cool,
awesome.
man. It's cool. I gotta believe that there are people out there that put this as like their actual background each month, right?
That's cool.
On their PC. You know, I think that'd be pretty cool. And I gotta believe people do that. So I will bring this back up again, guys. Poll in the chat, make sure you vote, see who takes the non-existent belt home with them.
Non-existent.
At least for right now. And we'll get into the fan piece.
I think we need to do more like on location type stuff like we did, because it adds a different vibe to it, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know, when it's a certain scene or setting, that's what I'm trying to say. Like a particular setting, even with the
I like
pieces
that.
coming up, man. Like that's pretty awesome.
Even the
I'm a fan
characters.
of it.
So we keeping it fresh. You should probably
the characters.
keep doing
Yeah.
that.
Otherwise,
Different
I'm gonna draw
characters every time.
horseman all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, Igor. Yeah,
Like
definitely.
Taro would be real mad about that, I'm
It's
sure.
either
Right?
mags or horseman.
And you got Caden's like, I don't want to draw that damn artwork anymore.
That's good.
All
man.
right. Joshua. No, Porter. It was Porter.
Yeah.
Porter Fishburne, not Joshua. So shout out to him. He did was it 2 months ago? He did the Dirty Deeds one. Or the one it was like, yeah, Dirty Deeds fighting a whole bunch of other he did it was the pirate theme one, right? That was cool. But this is Porter Fishburne, who has featured a number of times on our podcast here because he keeps submitting and he keeps grinding on his craft. So, gentlemen, have at it.
I love definitely Braxwell coming in and clocking Chadron is pretty awesome. Good perspective, man. Very ambitious to try something like, even though it's like pretty much 1 point, but still adding those elements like the shadow work on the left, you know, with the water tower casting the shadow onto the cart. Very, very extreme.
Oh yeah.
Dark, extreme shadow, but I think it works. The ground, man, like it actually feels like it's, you know, receding into the background, because a lot of times, you know, especially with newer artists, you know,
That's hard.
you run into the, like, everything feels like it's floating, you know what I mean? But everything here actually feels, you know, pretty solid. The only thing I think would probably be the water tower. I think maybe if you brought the legs down a little bit more, so it wouldn't look like, because right now it looks like when you get to that part, there's like a hill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
a slope.
Like a slope.
It's closer.
Yeah. Unless it's supposed to be. If it's supposed to be that, that's fine. But I'm thinking it's supposed to be flat, because the rest
based
of the
on the tracks, it seems like Yeah.
Right.
Based on the
Right.
tracks, I would think it's supposed to be flat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But like you said, it's a very tricky like
Yeah.
Yeah.
angle to work on.
Um,
Go ahead, Kenny.
no, I was saying like so I love how I did Chadron's hair. I said the impact of him hitting the ground. I don't even think you needed to actually have the little white impact of his face hitting. Probably, I think if he added debris or something
Yeah.
to that effect, I think that would have sold it even more.
Mhm.
But listen, nonetheless, it's pretty good. I would say watch how you render the muscles, especially that left arm, which would be our right. It looks flat, and I think that's just because of how he colored it. Um,
Mm.
and you can kind of alleviate a lot of that with the use of like line weight. As things that are furthest away, the lines are thicker. Things that are closer, the lines are thinner. Um, and yeah, and then like I said, just keep focusing on rendering like the anatomy and how it looks at certain points and certain angles in certain directions, and like how the muscles twist and wrap around each other. This is pretty good, but I can definitely see he got probably stuck at some parts, especially
Yeah.
like the deltoid and going into the
Mm.
whatever that part is, going into the bicep.
I know I would.
Yeah, so
brachialis and the triceps,
yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah. It's kind of
And that's something, man. Like even on my piece, it happened fast, so you couldn't tell. But I was struggling with like getting
yeah.
like the shadow work right because when you don't from my style, I don't really use lines as it is more lines as framing devices rather than filling in. They usually use
Yeah.
shadow and rendering and stuff like that for the inner parts of the muscles and stuff. But good job on Chadron's face. Love
Expression.
Ingrid's motorcycle in the background. She
Yeah.
may be a little too small, but
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
That's
on
what
it.
I was going. Yeah.
yeah,
What I was
that's
gonna
my feedback.
bring up the size because the perspective right now has Chadron in the ground,
Mm,
and then the horizon line crosses like on top of the wagons.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
So those two, in order for those two to happen, like Ingrid,
mm,
basically think about like everything that is above the horizon line is going to be seen right from below, and
yes,
everything
yep,
that is below the horizon line is going to be seen from
from
above.
above. That's good. Yeah,
So you get like Chadron seen from above in here, but then
yeah,
when you get to Ingrid, it's like kind of like the horizon line is cutting
mm,
her in the kind of in the middle or something like that. She looks kind of flat, which
yeah,
happens when you move like further away.
right.
But then you have to consider the length of some of the stuff because
Yeah,
she would be bigger in relation to the carts, for instance. Like
yeah,
as they move farther away, they are getting obviously trains are like pretty long, and we said like train yards tend to be really long. But the if you think about like how much you show of each wagon as
yeah,
they move on the horizon, they would get shorter and shorter and shorter
yeah,
as you see them like move away, because otherwise they get too long.
yeah,
You do get some leeway. You don't have to be perfect with the perspective in that regard, but it's like if you draw, like I've done this myself, like where you draw like a table, and then if you turn the table around in the same perspective, it turns into like I don't know how many
endless.
meters long, because
Yeah,
your
yeah,
brain is not accustomed to think about stuff in like you're just drawing, right? Like so
yeah,
when you look at something, so the wagons probably needed to be shorter and getting like a little bit smaller, and then
yeah,
Ingrid could be bigger, which would help
Mhm.
the picture
yeah. It
in the
would.
overall sense, I think. Um,
Because either that or you'd have to make Chadron and Braxwell small because
yeah.
based on like you said when you're talking about the planes and how basically the way she's receding and the way where the horizon line is, we would be looking at them not only from the top but kind of from afar. Like if you
Mhm.
were flying over above in a way. Like they would
Yeah.
be definitely be smaller.
Yeah, but I really like this
Yeah.
the overall like the action and
Hmm.
everything. Like Kanan pointed out, like the anatomy and the stuff that you should pay attention. But in general, I love that's why I like this prompt more,
Yeah.
where we have like a setting
Yeah.
that where it takes place because it gives the people the opportunity to actually draw something
Yep.
in a place, right? Like where it's not just like some floating composition. Everyone had to draw a perspective of some
Mhm.
sort, and that's how you learn. I know people are afraid of perspective all the time, but it's actually how you learn. And
Yep.
it seems like I was nitpicking or something, but this is actually a big step into understanding how things
Yes.
move into a plane, right? Like it's not
Yeah.
about like just depicting buildings in a certain way. It's how your characters move in a certain way.
Yep.
Because some of the best action scenes in the history of cinema have great settings, right?
Yeah.
Where like if you think of like John Wick, for instance, you always know where everyone is, and that's because you have a great setting. And
That's good.
perspective is important in storyboarding and comics for that reason in animation, where like you know where everything is taking place, you don't get lost in the action where like characters are switching places or something like that. So it is a skill that you have to consider. And just kudos for the fact that you did that. Like the
Yeah.
composition, you put the horizon line on top of it, which is already great because
Yeah.
people tend to put it in the middle where it
Hmm.
gets like kind of boring. So if you look at our pieces when they come back, the horizon line is either at the top half or the bottom half of the
Yeah.
like
Yep.
not never in the middle because we know it's gonna look kind of flat and boring
Yeah.
and like not have a lot going on, especially in the train yard where it's like
Yeah.
vast. And so
Exactly.
you have to make a choice in that. So he did make a correct choice there, where like not a correct one but a good one, where like it helps the overall composition. I just
I
think
wonder
there's yeah.
I wonder if the reason why Ingrid wound up being so small is because he was trying to size her against the size of the cards.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably.
Maybe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe that
I
was
think he
it.
was focused a lot on the how he had drawn the train cars
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
he was like, I'm gonna have Ingrid back here. Oh well, I can't have her like as tall as the
Huge.
train cars.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those where it's actually funny that Kanan, you brought this up while we are going through your piece, how like you'll sometimes render a piece or like render a large portion of it, and then you'll just erase it. You're like, no, I don't
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
So this
Mhm.
is one of those moments where like you might have to then reassess and
Yeah.
make that decision of like, okay, so if I want this to work, I am going to have to ultimately change something
Yeah.
here, right? And
That
I'm gonna have to toss something that I was initially doing and redo it.
And when
that's
when you do that, it feels so much better after you
yeah.
do. I know it sucks to do that, but like when you do and you get it right, you're like, man, I really did improve as like an artist right now because I didn't like just
Mhm.
leave it or try to fix it. I
It
went
was
like back
necessary.
to the drawing board.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the things you like you said earlier, Igor, like the work goes in the plotting and the arranging and the adjusting and
Hmm.
sketching, and like that's where you solve these, as you want to say, artistic equations in a way,
Yeah.
like okay, perspective. And and a lot of times I always tell people is like the rendering aspect, although it's work and it can be challenging, the work, the true work goes in the sketching and the layout and the
Sketching.
composition and yep, perspective. And as you can probably attest to, Marcos, like taking all that information, the rendering of the characters are easy, for
Yeah.
lack of a better term, but it's
Yeah.
taking all that information and like trying to figure out what works, what's practical. Okay, that sounds cool in theory, but having 38 pockets on the left side looks weird. Like we
Yeah.
can't do that, kind of thing. So, um, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
especially
true.
for Marcos, right? Like you think about the character and you have like to go through ideas and put
yep,
them on paper. Like by the time you get to rendering, like the really like the important part of the job is like getting the idea, right? Like the
yep,
same.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is the same, you
Sometimes
know?
the sketches are too good that I actually use
mhm,
that instead of inking.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
Hmm.
there's been couple of there's been not that many, but a few designs over the past few years. Random books not every book obviously, but where I do a sketch of the concept art and ends up looking so good that I don't actually do another layer to render it.
Mm,
I just color it and I'm like send it
that's awesome.
a couple times
Nice.
because the sketching is so good. Because I know sometimes if if I render it, it's gonna end up looking kind of less.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
You can
Powerful,
lose
right?
something.
It's,
Yeah,
Yeah,
lose something.
it
Yeah.
loses something, yeah. The little spark from the pencil ink.
yep. But yeah, I
But
mean, overall, like this is, I think he did an amazing job. Like I said, really ambitious. You know, it's like you said, Igor, man, like even shifting the horizon line, and what really stands out to me is even the reflection on Braxwell's visor is like
Mhm.
superb, man.
mm,
I loved it. Looks amazing.
there's a little bit of that the reflection of the light from the sun
Yeah.
too
Yep.
on him on
Yep.
him.
Yep.
That's really well to the piece. I just noticed Ingrid's dragging him, Shadrin,
Oh yeah,
with the
yeah,
whip.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
Oh
she's
yeah, she
probably got her
is.
whips around his ankles or
yeah.
something
His
like that.
ankles or something.
Yeah.
'Cause I was
So
thinking
it's
Chadrin's position is a little bit weird, but then I was, oh, it's because she's dragging him, so he's like on the
Yeah,
floor, and then he's punching him right as he's being dragged.
yeah,
Pulled his legs from
Yep.
under him.
yeah, it could have been
Yeah.
kind of a simultaneous attack. I don't know how many
Mm,
Yeah.
people here have watched Naruto, but if you're familiar with the Raikage and his brother, the Eight Tails, like they have this move where it's like a double lariat where they each
mm,
go at the
Mhm.
guy or at their opponent from opposite sides. And so I look at this kind of like that. It's not exact, but where they both probably initiated their attacks at the same time, where just
Mhm.
as
yeah.
Ingrid was pulling down uh Shadron with her whips, that's when Braxwell was kind of
He's
taking advantage
Mm,
of that extra momentum
Yeah,
and force to
that's
like
crazy.
really drive down on Shadron's face. That's the way that I look at that.
Yeah.
that's
The
super cool.
only thing that I have to say is I think from the impact and the direction that is coming from his face would have probably Chadrin's face would probably been turning more to this side
Mm,
to
yeah, I can see
punching.
that.
But I understand what he was going for because he was punching down, so it was like
Yeah,
kind of like
kind of
Yeah.
his
dragging the
head.
head. Yeah, but yeah,
For
in
me,
some scenes it kind of sells if you like follow the head with the movement, right? Like so,
yeah,
you
Right.
get punched and your face is actually being pushed. So if you get punched there, so it kind of works like this. But yeah, you could sell more of a
yeah,
punch, like
just
if
like
you.
maybe a little bit more like frontal instead
Mhm.
of like
Yeah, yeah, it was like
a
more
front.
looking at us just because he's still
Yeah,
falling forward, but at the same time
Yeah,
he's getting cracked, by
Mhm.
Braxwell.
maybe maybe his mouth
Oh
deep
yeah,
into
that,
the dirt,
ooh.
like just
Yeah,
punched
yeah,
it.
yeah, yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
I really
I,
like
I
the different like the anatomy and the perspective in Braxwell's like legs.
Yeah,
He's trying
mhm,
to like add depth to it.
yep,
One hand is bigger than the other, like
yep.
as it's closer to us. So those are a good attempt at like the anatomical perspective. Like just keep
mhm,
looking for reference and trying
Yep.
different things. You're gonna
Mhm.
nail like get the feeling for that and improve. Like
And I'm not,
really good.
sure if Porter does, and I'm sure he may, but yeah, I'm sure you guys have done it too. Yeah, when you see a dynamic pose, deconstruct it.
Yeah,
Like
for
break it
sure,
down, like
for sure.
break it
Hey,
down
Cat.
into the right. There's the cat.
The cat
But
cam, yeah.
break down the I usually don't use the cylinders and stuff just because I've been doing it enough.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
still, you still loosely follow that even when you're breaking down like different parts of the anatomy. But like you mentioned, his the perspective dynamics with the leg going back, and find images of superheroes, even whatever books you use, and deconstruct it, almost like strip down the outer part and actually like see the bare shapes of everything, and then just try
yeah,
to deconstruct that, and draw it and see if you can understand how arms and things come out even more,
mhm,
and then also how your
Mhm.
clothes and stuff should respond, because that has effect, the way the
for
clothes
sure.
wrap around the arm when it's coming at you. But yeah, overall, I love the motion of his fist, That's what I was talking about, the anime style.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah,
You can see
exactly. Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, I was like that to me, man, adds so much more impact than just the age old
Your Kirby
Action
speed
line.
super
lines.
swoosh.
Yeah. Man,
So
there are some pages in Berserk where like Guts is all that. The Guts is the main character. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
every line he has
yes,
is like in a motion.
yep,
Mhm.
It's like so cool, and you don't even think about that. It just sells you the movement. Like
yep,
I was going through some of my old mangas, and I found one page where like his entire like silhouette is like
just
etch a
etch and
sketch,
scratch it. Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
so
Yeah,
yeah,
cool,
right.
man. Like
yep,
it's a bold choice to have like your main character just like and make it work. Like yeah, we all can learn something with
yep.
those guys.
That's
Good
rad.
stuff,
Really
man.
cool.
Yeah.
I love
Great work,
the
Porter.
details on the third. Sorry, I was just
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
like the pebbles and the individual
Hmm.
little rocks at the. I
Mhm.
like that the
And as you
detail.
go further into the background, it's less and less
It
detailed in the
Yeah,
dirt, which makes
yeah,
sense, right?
yeah. Keep that up. Like, don't
realistic.
change that. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
Hmm.
yeah.
That's
it actually, as I said, it actually feels like they're on a surface that's receding
Mhm.
mhm.
into the background. It doesn't feel
Mhm.
like because some people try to fill the entire. I always remember that one piece. I'm not sure who did it, but the boat when it was
Yeah,
like,
the pirate. Yeah.
yeah, like it was the perspective was
Mm.
golden, but it was
Mhm.
just there was so much going on, and
Mhm.
so this is a good example of implying texture,
Yeah.
implying the rocks. You assume that okay, the gravel starts and you see the detail up close, and of
Yeah,
course,
you don't do every single rock.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, you
You
don't
don't
need
do
to.
you. Hmm.
And
You
it
don't need to.
helps with the perspective, right? Like as it moves, like our brain is designed to feel that. Like you're not gonna get the same level of detail as you move like farther and farther away
Exactly.
from
Mhm.
the
Exactly.
camera. Like you don't have to worry about that. Digital
Yep.
ruins us in some ways, man, where you can zoom in everything.
Right. You
Like
got
I
to render
struggle
everything.
with that so much. Like that is not a joke, man.
Yeah.
Like
That's
it's
what they
really
always
hard.
say. The rule of thumb, man, is don't zoom in, beyond. I don't know. I think it was like I can't remember the percentage, man, but almost. For me, I try to zoom in maybe as close to if I leaned in to
Mhm.
Mhm.
look at detail or something like because there is no zoom on a
Yeah.
Bristol board paper,
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
you do
Yeah.
this. you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's your zooming in. Like,
So that's yeah, exactly. So that's your rule of thumb, or you use a magnifying glass, or whatever. But even then, you can't get super detailed, super close. So, and I remember somebody said it could have been you, even you, Igor, but the danger
It
of
probably
doing that.
was. I talk too much, man. I never
But,
shut up.
this is
you
the
know,
avenue for that.
all right, this is where you get to soapbox. No, but sometimes the negative side of that is that you render this one little section so well,
Yeah.
and then you gotta try to duplicate that through the entire piece. And a lot of times, man, it looks unbalanced because you have the super render location or a super render
Yeah.
character, and then
Mhm.
you're like, I
Uncanny.
can't. Yeah, exactly. And it's just
Yeah.
like I don't feel like repeating that through the entire piece, and so as a
It's like
result,
you're looking at everything all the
yeah,
time. Like
yeah, right. Yeah,
like you
everything it
have
looks
like,
like inconsistent. It's like, what did he do here? Like he was killing it on this first half, and it's just like you can tell he's like, yeah, I just got tired.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
ain't doing any of that anymore.
yeah, I think it was Jim Lee he said even when he draws the face, um, he doesn't render just like one side. He'll draw both sets of eyes, and he'll
Mhm.
work himself, both ears and work himself down, and in both left arm and the right arm, left and right. Yeah.
Mhm.
So everything gets the same amount of attention. Nothing is kind of like
Mm.
overly rendered or over focused on. And I know every artist works differently, but that
Yeah,
might be something that can also help,
Mhm.
as you're creating stuff. So
for
I
sure.
kind of work that way, honestly. I
mm,
usually start in the eyes. I go one and then the other, the
okay,
nose, then
yeah,
Yeah, that's a
both
smart way
ears,
to go.
top to down.
yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's weird because if you start in the head and then you do the leg, you're gonna kind of look, you're gonna lose focus, and then you do
Mhm.
one leg, then another arm. It makes no sense. I just
Yeah.
go top to bottom, depending on the piece, of course.
True. Dude, I'll be starting with the kneecap. I mean, I'll be starting on weird places though. I ain't
Kneecap.
gonna lie.
I was about
And
to
it's
Dude,
just
say,
like
like
seriously.
Ingrid, you started with the leg. I was
Yeah,
listening
it's
to
like
that, and I was like,
left
you
inside
started
ankle.
with the leg.
dude, like
The armpit.
I was thinking about that. I was like, man, I never start with the head. I never start with the head. Like there's one character. I think I started with like the belt buckle, and I worked my way out. Like it was like when I look at a piece, it's like, where am I feeling like the vibe? So I'll look around and be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna start with the knuckles. And I'll render the fist and work back. It's like, what, dude? Like, how are
Yeah,
you doing?
that's for every piece, man. I always pay
You know?
attention to that because you always start on like some random spot.
Right.
It's
the
super
foot,
funny.
the left toe. Like,
We're
what?
gonna have to start taking drawing lots or something like that to see what
Yeah,
part of the
where
body that Kanan starts with next time.
I'm
Oh,
surprised you
man.
didn't start with her whips this time.
yeah, like just
You
the
know
line.
what?
Literally not her.
Because I don't know. It's just like I was like the thigh. It's kind of where I want to because I just kind of saw to me it was like that was the anchor point. It was, if I can get that
Mm.
right, man, I'll just build everything else. But I don't know. It's weird. You usually like, you should start with the head or start with things closer to you. Sometimes it's like, nah. I think I'm gonna start with the pinky and work that backwards.
With the pinky, the left toe.
Exactly.
I mean,
I
Good
have
piece,
to
though,
start
man.
with the face in the
Yeah.
rare instances that I do try and sketch something. Like I have to start with the face, but that's probably a comfort point for me because
Mhm.
that's like I'm I'm bad with a lot of other parts of the anatomy, but I feel like if I can at least get the face decently,
Yeah.
like I can start to work down from there. Um, but
because
I mean, even in
technically, oh my bad. I was technically the face is one of the hardest things to like get down because there's
Yeah.
so many components.
yeah,
The bone structure, the shading, the eyes,
Yeah.
everything
Yeah, but
about it is like,
that's where people focus more. So
yeah,
if you wanna like nail something, you should start by like the head and the face
Yeah.
features and everything. It's a
And
good
then
way
it
to
put
start.
yeah.
it
But
helps
like
proportions and
Kanan
stuff
like
too.
dominates everything. You can see in his sketches. It's like, yeah, no, but
But
I'm
you know
not.
what though?
This
You
is
know what
not.
though? Like the actual sketching of the piece, I start with the heads. You know, because
But but not
Yeah,
always.
I
I've
noticed.
paid
no,
attention to
but
that
the actual skill. No,
because he
but the
knows
actual
so much.
like
Kanan feels called out right now.
no, I'm
Yeah,
saying
because
like
he
but
knows
like
so
the
much. I've seen that. Like he started with like a shoulder or something like that
yeah
at one
yeah
point, and I was like,
Yeah,
I
head or
understand why he
shoulders.
started. Yeah, I understand what he started with that because of the movement that
yeah
was taking
yeah
place. Like that, the shoulder is the most important part of like showing the movement and
right
everything in that particular piece. But like that shows you how controlled he is with like his sketches, where like he kind of knows everything. When he talked about like, oh, I kind of have an idea of where like the shadows are gonna go and everything,
yeah
because he has done that a lot and studied a lot of like the mannequin and everything, so like the
right.
proportions are kind of ingrained. But to anyone starting drawing, like
Like don't
don't
do
do
it like
that. Yeah, like, don't do that
that.
because you're gonna go through a lot of reworks like if you
Yeah,
do that. Like,
I mean
oh, why is this proportion off? Maybe because you
exactly yeah.
started with the feet or something like that.
I mean, it's one of the things like learning to draw. I think that was one of the most invaluable things, learning to draw gesturally, because
Yeah.
learning how to keep the movement and building the figure. And like I did all that. I did the thumbnails and hundreds of thumbnails, and
Hmm.
just drawing the figure over and over and over in different positions. And so you're right, it becomes automatic. And so, but most of the thinking, because I can start on different parts of the piece, is because all the planning and the redrawing, the true redrawing, and the you know you know breaking down and adjusting happens in the sketch stage. you know the head, where the head goes, and angles and poses and adjustments, and like even with my piece, there was you couldn't tell how many times I actually redrew Chadron's body trying to get it right. But that was a lot of trial and error, and and even Ingrid's pose, and I was like, okay, this is no, I don't want no, because then I'm always thinking like, okay, is there tangents? Is this like, because if you can spot them before you actually get to the rendering, then you can tweak all that stuff. And then when you actually start rendering, to me, rendering is just like icing on the cake. But if the cake is nasty because you didn't follow the directions, it can look amazing after it's over. You bite into that thing, it tastes like sawdust. It's like, okay, I messed up. So each little mini stage before you get to the final stuff, before you get to the some people, they need to do a pencil drawing. Technically, like they'll do the layout, and then they'll do a pencil drawing, and then they'll do a first render, and then they'll do a second render, and then they'll do the inking, and that's fine. That's their process. People, somebody, when I posted I think it was some drawing I did recently, it was like, man, it's like, I don't understand how you just go from that loose sketch to renders and the render and inking. And I always tell them, it's like it's kind of I don't say tomfoolery, but I'm a penciler. I'm not an inker. It's just the tools I use make it look like it's ink, but I'm a penciler. So I understand what needs it, which is one of the reasons why I ended up learning how to ink myself, is because I wanted my pencils to look the same way as my inks. And if you have an inker that's not that good, or they don't understand the strokes, and if you are even learning your strokes and things like that, it's not going to look the same. And so I purposely trained myself to be a pencil inker. If that digitally. And so that's what I was like, because I can tell you put the traditional tools in my hand, I'm lost. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it doesn't look the same. And I'm like, and which is one of the reasons why I don't like inking traditionally. I was like, what is this? I was like, I don't have my
there's no Control Z,
there's no tape, there's no taper on my brush. Like, I don't understand how, like using microns and everything looks flat and it'd be bleeding into the paper, and I'm just like, so. But I always said, the only way I would start traditionally inking is if I could get it to look the same. But all that to say, man, like, it's all the prep and stuff before I start rendering is why it's easy to just kind of start anywhere, because I went through all the pros and cons, I guess you want to say, of the design process, and that comes with time. That's mileage. So I've been drawing for a long time, and so you're not gonna just, like you said, don't start with the kneecap. Start with the head.
Noted, Cannon. Noted.
Believe it.
But yeah, good stuff, man. Good job, Porter.
Great work, Porter.
Yep.
Very
work.
good.
Thank you, as always, for joining us in the tomfoolery here, in the fun, in the challenge. This is something that I know you've expressed you get a lot out of, and I hope that everybody else that's joined each month and submitted a piece to us, whether it gets shown off or not, do you feel that you are getting something out of it, just by way of practicing more, right? And I know that the guys here, they get something out of it because they kind of use this space, this platform here, to experiment. And so you get to mess around with stuff that's like, maybe if I'm, doing a cover or something, or I'm commissioned for whatever, I ain't got time for that. I'm putting my head down. I'm doing my thing. But this is more of like an experimental space where you get to kind of play around and figure out maybe new things to add to your technique, or trying out different poses, or starting at kneecaps, whatever it is.
The nose, the left ear,
right? The left small toe. But yeah, thank you, Porter. I hope you had a good time. I hope you feel you got some great feedback from the guys, that will help you continue to refine your skills even further than you already have. We're already at an hour 20. So you know what? I'm gonna pull the 3 pieces back up here and we'll hit some housekeeping while y'all vote in the chat for your favorite piece. So, real quick though, before we get into the normal housekeeping stuff, Igor and Kanan, actually,
Yes.
technically, you were part of this
True.
project as well. You have a good friend who is a very talented young indie comic creator
Yes.
in this space, Paul Thayer, who if you guys are not aware, he does Project Neosis, which is a very consistently performing
Yeah.
like good book from everything that I keep hearing from people. And my biggest praise that I can't like emphasize enough is that he is a fantastic promoter of his
Oh,
own
he
work.
is.
Yes,
Like
he
he'll
is.
he'll
Yeah.
have videos done of like when he's at conventions. He goes to conventions constantly to get himself a booth set up and he'll do promos. And you can tell he's got it down to a science to
Hmm.
where he knows how to pitch his book to people, and it's why he's constantly posting photos of new people jumping in on his work while he's at conventions. And I think that's fantastic. And I think that everybody who does an indie book needs to know how to pitch their book. You don't have to be
Yeah.
the most talkative person on the planet, but if you don't know how to get people interested in your book by giving them at least a quick elevator pitch of it,
Yeah.
you're gonna struggle.
Yeah.
And that's something that I would say look up Paul Thayer, Project Neosis, and watch his videos that he's posted of him pitching his work and take notes.
It's good.
Yeah.
Um, in light of that, Igor, you were a collaborator with him on his most recent Kickstarter. Tell us a little
Indeed,
bit
I
about
was.
that.
Yeah. So we had he had an idea with Enzo Amore, who used to be who still is a WWE fighter, and they bounced this idea around of like a silly comic where like there are some stuff happening and this guy gets trapped in the like underworld where with like superpowers, and
Mm.
then he like asked me if I wanted to join. I said I didn't have time because I had a baby and I worked at the Rippaverse, and he said like there is no rush. We're doing this like as like he was super cool about it. He didn't like have a deadline for it. He said, well, I probably want to release this next week the next year, but we can work something out. And I was like, yeah, cool. Like the 20 pages, I can do that. Like it's always fun to do comics.
Yeah.
And he like gave me like free reign to work on the concept art. Like we bounced some ideas off. I created like a very like silly, like fun looking character with like a giant sword and everything. And yeah, so the book is out now. Like the campaign is out now. Like the book is probably gonna be out by next year. We already finished everything. Like it's just about like the logistics and everything. The campaign is open for 30 days. You can look it up on Kickstarter's like Lethal Leopard #1. If we get to a certain amount, I don't remember the numbers, sorry, but we're gonna work on issue 2. I probably gonna be faster than on issue 1. But yeah, it was super fun. I got to draw a lot of like I said, he gave me free reign, so there is a lot of what I like. Like anyone that buys it, it's gonna see a lot of like sword swinging, sorcery, like
Nice.
hell creatures,
Yeah.
a little bit of violence. So like
Yeah,
Who could have
that's the book
predicted
for.
this?
So
Fantasy.
but it's fun
Not
violence.
Igor.
It's
Not
like
Igor.
it's like demons and devils getting their like yeah the comeuppance you should say. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. I can't stress this enough. Like the working on these pages, I'm truly blessed to have these opportunities. And yeah, he was super cool with me, everyone in the team. Kanan was kind enough to draw us a cover that looks so badass.
That
It's like
cover
Thank you,
looks
man. Thank you.
incredible.
yeah, yeah. Like I have a
Thank you.
hard time picking one of the like covers from Kana is my favorite, but that one like really like seeing him drawing something that I created was I know how
It's
Marcus
an honor,
feels
man.
now, like because it was incredible. Like the book looks really good. Like the colors, Prasad is so good. Like he did the
Yeah.
colors for the covers and the interiors. Cover A is by me and cover B is by Kanan. Uh, you can
I
get
got
cover
both.
B.
I
I'm not
backed
gonna.
at the $100
Thank you
tier.
very much.
You
Yeah, thank you.
I was like, nah, I want all of that. Like Igor on interiors, Kanan did a cover. There's a sketch cover. Give it all to me right now.
It's like a family book.
You're right, right. It's like,
Yeah, I was super happy when I saw the cover. Yeah, so it's the campaign's already past like the 50% point.
nice.
But yeah, we could always use more backers, like show us. There is a digital option as well for those who don't want to pay for like shipping.
Nice.
There are like 100 Ashcan versions as well.
Mhm.
So there's a ton that you can choose from. Like whatever fits your budget, I will always appreciate. Like this is my first ever like crowdfunding thing, so I had some fun with it. It's super nice to see like people supporting it. Yeah.
Yeah, guys. Lethal Leopard on Kickstarter, written by Paul Thayer, interiors by Igor, our very own Igor, a cover by Igor, and a cover by Kanan. So that's 3 fantastic reasons to go support this project. So please check
Thanks.
that out. I'll drop that link in the chat when this episode goes live on Wednesday. So that's going to be day after tomorrow. So we're recording this on Monday, the 24th. It'll go live in a couple of days because we want to get it out before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
So, guys, thank you in advance for
Thanks a
anybody
lot.
who has
Yeah.
already supported the project, and for those of you who will support the project. We appreciate you. Kanan, you got any words to say about that cover that you did?
It was fun, man. Like I said, I'm learning about I'm learning more about the story just from Igor talking about it. But just the concept was interesting in and of itself. So I loved just the character's design, and so just being able to kind of play with that, and the overalls, and the leopard print, and even the beard, and his hairstyle, and just some of the references that I got to use. And of course, just fighting creatures, man. Like it's always fun to experiment with the different settings and surroundings, and things like that you don't normally play around with. And so,
Mhm.
and then of course the sword. If anybody who's a Final Fantasy fan, you're already familiar with like giant swords and Berserker as well. So it's like a combination of all of that. And one of the things I really wanted to emphasize, well, I think it's Paul, right? That's his name, Paul.
Yeah.
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 He wanted me to more so focus on his human side, but I wanted to drop a glimpse of that he's also this other creature, which
Yeah,
is
it was
why
super
you
good
see,
touch.
it was why you actually see his reflection, in the
Yeah.
sword,
Yeah, in the sword.
so like he's
That
always
was such a cool choice, too,
Yeah,
by
it
the way.
was really
thank
cool,
you.
man.
Like he's already on the verge of changing, and so yeah, really, man, just trying to show that not only is he aggressive, but that he's also enjoying it in a way. You
Mhm.
see his face is like yeah, I'll bring it. He's got one thing. He's basically choking it to death with one hand, and and then he's prepping to fight the things coming at him. And so, and I was like, okay, I want to show it wreathed in fire, and so it's just flames are all over the place, and you got mountains in the background. It's like this wasteland, So yeah, so it's and the colors, man, like dude, it's always
Yeah,
it
it's really
always
good.
it's a joy when you get a colorist that knows what they're doing, man. Like it's like, oh my gosh, and y'all know I'm hard on colorists. I'm sorry, but I do.
Can confirm. But then you go ahead and you get people like Candace coloring your
Yeah,
stuff and
Candace
Marcos
and
coloring your
Marcos, and
stuff.
and it's just like, man, like you see it when it's done right, and it's always a almost like a lottery sometimes when you send your work in to certain people and you don't know who the necessarily all the creative team is.
Mhm.
And in this I didn't know who the colorist was, but man, he nailed it.
Oh
like
yeah, his colors are fantastic
everything
on your
was
lines
like,
there.
yeah, like, and I was just like, dude, like this is like top notch, man. Like, yes, and I love how when indie creators come out of the gate, and even with the book that he did before Lethal Leopard, it doesn't feel indie. Like it's done
Mhm.
so well that you can put it next to like a Marvel or DC comic book, and it holds its own. And in a lot of ways, it's better. So it's always impressive to see that. And so, being able to, it's like good colors on good line art is like the icing on the cake. It's like the reward because
Mhm.
I've seen, like I said, I've had people color some of my stuff, and it's just like, huh,
And
that's
keep workshopping that, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
keep
it's like,
practicing.
right, it's like, oh, okay. And then sometimes, like when it goes to publishing, man, like there was a book that I did for a notable company. I won't say their name, but they colored it, and it was like, and I showed it to my daughter, and she was like, and those of you don't know all my kids are artists as well. They creating, and so my daughter, who's also a good colorist, I had her color it. I was like, man, I wish this is what it looked like. And I was just like, bro, like, and I'll just say the company wasn't an indie publisher. Let's just put it
Yeah.
that way. And I was just like, so sometimes it's like a letdown when you have bad colors, man. But when you get somebody like the Lethal Leopard colorist, who I don't know his name, but shout out to him.
Prasad.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Prasad. It's
yeah,
really
he
good.
did a phenomenal job. So, dude, thank you. the pot of the gold at the end of the rainbow, it was well worth it, man. So
Yeah.
I was honored more so than anything, man, just to be graced the cover of something Igor did, man. Like it's like absolutely, and
Appreciate
I
it.
couldn't bring up nothing garbage and trash. I mean, it's like, dude, like yeah, that's my
That's
dude, man. So,
impossible, by the way.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
that is
possible.
impossible. Yeah, it is impossible.
Nothing you can make will
It's
ever be
possible,
correct,
but you'll
honestly.
never know, Marcos. You'll never
Yeah,
know.
Rich doesn't know.
That's fantastic. Yeah, guys, check out Lethal Leopard on
Yes.
Kickstarter right now. Thank you so much for your support of that. Thank you so much for the support of everything that we do here at the Rippaverse. Huge shout out to that colorist for Lethal Leopard, Prasad Rao, because getting praise from Kanan for colors on his lines is not something that's particularly common, as he just said. He's hard on colors,
Really?
which is why I was so grateful that my Blue
Oh my
Shift
gosh.
poster was colored by Andrew Dollhouse of all people, because I was like, all right, there's no possible scenario where Kanan complains about the colors on this.
Andrew's like, I'm just not gonna get a colors. I'm gonna get a goat. I'm like, bro. He's just like, so I was just like, so yes, Andrew Dollhouse, you're
Yeah.
a beast. I'm
Thank you.
just saying over again,
Andrew
you're a
Dollhouse
beast.
is
You're a beast.
incredible. Yeah, he's amazing. It's got a good name too. Good
Yes.
first name.
Yeah.
I'm not biased.
Let's say that.
Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Quick hits on active collections. Alphacore 2, which is closing down tomorrow. So by the time this
Wow.
airs, that will have closed. It's at like 3,900 books, and it's just shy of 150K right now. I think it's at like
Yes.
148 and change. So thank you so much for that. I have no doubt that that's going to pass 150 by the time this thing airs and closes out. Thank you for that. If you enjoyed AlphaCore 1, AlphaCore 2 does everything that Chuck and Joe did in that first book, but better.
Yep.
The action's better, the drama's better, everything's better. Every facet of the art is a notch up. Jay Brown did a fantastic job
Yeah, he
on
did.
Joe's lines. Thank you guys for supporting that. Detention Crew Part 1. That is at like 1,600 books and a little over 50K. So it's a first all ages book. So obviously it's a completely different demographic than our usual target audience. So far that's doing great. Thank you so much for your support of that. That's written by Jenna and Sylvia Saska. Artist is Matteo Lucetti. I'm so glad I remembered that. They did a fantastic job with
It's a hard
his
name.
work on that. So thank you so much for your support of that. Great War of Separation Part 3. Guys,
Yes.
penultimate chapter of this. Chuck Dixon Jack Herbert, Marco Lesko. Incredible book. You do not want to miss this. And it has an explosive cliffhanger too, which is going to set up the final chapter for it to be just absolutely insane. Because this mini series has cranked things up with every single issue. This one's no exception. That's sitting at like 2,800, almost 2,900 books sold right now, and 97K. So thank you so much for your support of that. That's still going for, I think, another month. I think if I'm remembering that correctly. So I'm sure that's going to climb much higher. And then last but not least, Black Eye Club by Sylvia Saska and The Cursed by Jen Saska. They're battling back and forth. Right now, Jen's in the lead. Black Eye Club is at like 1911 books and 65, almost 69K, or almost 66K. The Cursed is sitting at 2070 for books and 72.7. So Jen's in the lead right now, guys. Keep supporting Black Eye Club and The Curse. Thank you so much for that. The ladies put in some epic work on those titles.
Yeah, they did.
The
Really
art,
good.
there's some great artists on
Phenomenal.
these books.
Yeah.
Absolutely great. You guys are going to
Very
see some
unique.
wild stuff.
Yeah, very
Contrast to
unique.
the two, man.
Like,
It's crazy.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's insane.
And it's a fitting contrast too, because
Yep.
the artists hit completely different tones, which is perfect because the books have completely different tones. All right, guys. Last but not least, I'm not going to forget this time, though. I probably will do a quick reel that I'll put on social media and maybe on YouTube that will let you guys know separately, just in case you missed it here. The prompt for next month is going to be, I guess, fairly predictably, a Christmas themed one. However, when I say a Christmas themed one, I don't just mean stick it in winter, stick it in the snow, and having some characters duke it out. Make it something that's actually leaning into the purpose for the season, which
Mm,
is love, joy, peace, hope. So whatever that represents to you,
it's good.
lean into that so that we can kind of foster some positivity, right? So whether it's, I don't know, a Rippaverse fan, maybe it's the Stillman family, hanging stuff on the tree together.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Blood Ruth, setting up a nativity scene. Whatever it is, whatever y'all want to do,
Yeah.
just make sure it's something that is leaning into positivity
It's good.
and goodness. Rather than, we all love a good fight scene here, but we're not going
Yeah.
for that this time around.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a challenge, man, actually adding an emotional aspect. When you're talking about, draw, you could draw characters serving at the soup kitchen. Draw
Yeah.
them, delivering packages. Draw them, caroling. Draw them,
Yeah.
somebody working on
Eating.
a snowman with, you could draw
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, maybe
eating,
Norfolk is
Eating.
caroling. How
Yeah.
about
yeah,
that?
you could do, Altona and her daughter building a snowman, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Just really push yourself, because honestly, it's in the quiet moments that really shows what an artist can do. Just showing people doing everyday, day-to-day stuff,
Right.
rather than simply drawing somebody getting, what we did today, punched to
Yeah.
the ground, or
Yeah, if you're gonna
thrown.
draw someone getting punched, draw Brian. Like, it's okay.
Man, just
Can make an
no
exception.
respect. No
Igor approves
respect at
dismissal.
all.
No, but
That's
really,
how he
yeah,
was built.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
right.
Kenan was talking about it. Like, yeah, drawing different scenes, like different tones. That's part of all the stories that I'm sure you love. Like, not
Yeah.
all stories are all action all the time.
No, they're not.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Peter Parker, Spider-Man stories are more than just him going back and forth with Doc
exactly.
Ock or Green
Yeah,
Goblin.
Yeah.
It's the interpersonal connections that he has with people, right?
exactly.
So, guys, get those turned into me. Let's say by the 20th of December. That episode will probably not air until the 31st, but we're going to be recording it before Christmas Eve. So, get those into me. Andrew at Rippaverse.com as usual. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys put together. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with us and watching and supporting. Thank you for super chats. Thank you for super comments or whatever the heck they're called. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't know what I'm doing. Thank you for being a Rippaverse member if you already are. And if you're not, you should fix that. For only $5 a month, you can get a free copy, the standard issue of each new Rippazine. So right now, the newest one is Rippazine number 5, which was short story was written by yours truly.
Yes.
Blue Shift tryouts. But we'll have more coming down the pipeline. So why not start now? So yeah. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us as always. But until next time, God bless and Godspeed.
Peace.
Smell you
Peace
later.
out.